Hello and welcome back to another episode of More Than a Business Live, where we come to you every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time, highlighting individuals and amazing work. And we have an amazing guest for the show today. But before we introduce him, I do want to say thank you so much to our sponsor, True Captive Insurance. They have a wonderful, wonderful team. They are busy as can be with open enrollment right now, but True Captive believes in healthcare that is personal and insurance that is not complicated. So if you do want to learn more about this unique captive healthcare program, just go right over to www.truecaptive.com. So I am your host, Mitch Case. I am also the founder at More Than a Meal, where we help organizations strengthen their most valued relationships by showing gratitude and appreciation one meal at a time. I do have a quick shout out real quick. I am wearing a brand new shirt that I have, Be Good to People. There is a World Kindness campaign that I was graciously invited to be a part of. So we're going to have some information on that to where you guys can start receiving here in about mid-October an email a day for 31 days of kindness, how you can make a ripple effect in your local community just by being kind to others. Shocking concept, but greatly excited to be a part of that. So speaking of appreciation, one of the things that our company has aspirations of doing really, really well. We have an amazing guest that is going to have a lot to say about this. So I am incredibly excited. This has been on the calendar for over a month and a half, and so excited to have Dr. Paul White on the show. He is a distinguished psychologist and renowned speaker and expert in leadership. He's been known for his remarkable ability to make work relationships work. Now, Dr. White's expertise and passion for understanding and improving workplace relationships shine through his best-selling book, which we have right here, The 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace. We are going to be diving deep into that. His influential book that was co-authored by Dr. Gary Chapman, as you guys might know from the 5 Love Languages, has sold over 600,000 copies. And this book has garnered and dedicated following among entrepreneurs, business leaders, and HR professionals, and is a testament to the book's enduring relevance and its ability to make tangible differences in the workplace. I am excited to learn directly from Dr. Paul White. So with that, Dr. Paul, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mitch. Glad to be with you.
I am, as I mentioned before, incredibly excited about this. And before we start diving into the book and a couple of other things we want to talk about, we discussed an impact story. So let's dive into maybe something from whether you have done or the work you have done has created a direct impact on maybe a community member, a client, even a team member, on just the sheer impact that has had on an individual that you want to talk about.
Yeah, let me share an example that's a little bit off the beaten path, and that is did some work with a mining company in South Dakota and Colorado.
Okay. What were they mining? Do you recall?
They're mining rocks, and then they crush them up and they make them into commercial chemicals like additives for soil and that kind of stuff. And actually, the New York Times wrote an article about our work with them, and we can get that to people. But you don't think about miners, about concrete truck drivers, sort of hard hat kind of people that are be big about appreciation. But we one of the leaders of the company brought me in, and I did a training with all of the, both from administration down to frontline supervisors. And at first, they were a little bit cool and so forth. But as we got through it and talked about the issue, it's authentic appreciation. We're not trying to teach people how to look like they appreciate people. Yes. It's very specific. It's very practical. It's easy to learn and remember. And over time, they really sort of grasped onto it to the point that they took the initiative. We have little visual symbols for each language of appreciation, and they had stickers made for their hard hats.
Oh, no way.
Post what language of appreciation they preferred. And it actually has gone through the whole system, and it's across 3 states. And it's part of their onboarding process, but you have to earn the right. You have to get past probation before you can go through the training and then find out your language and do that. So it's sort of a rite of passage, and it's been fun to work with them. It's cool.
I absolutely love that. So the 5 love languages was very impactful for my wife and I in our marriage getting started. And I, to this day, still have challenges like remembering that she doesn't receive love the way that I give love.
Right.
So I'm not I'm not going to have that conversation with her about like, let's put some stickers on her head, because that would just be a mental reminder for me to like show like, you need words of affirmation right now. I need to come up with something. I love that idea of just an easy way to remind somebody on how you can best show appreciation to me versus how I would normally think to do that. So before we start diving into some of this stuff, if you're tuning in live, let us know where you're watching from, both platform and city. If you have questions for Dr. Paul, I know we only have a short amount of time. So if we do have a little bit of extra time to answer some of those questions, shoot them in over there into the comments, and we'll be sure to bring those up and get those answered if time permits on that side. I know, Dr. Paul, we're going to talk about the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace. And I know as I was reading through this, and I kind of alluded to before we went on the show, I was very interested in seeing how you're going to dive into the physical touch piece of this in the workplace. So let's dive just kind of a brief, quick overview of those 5 languages in the workplace to show appreciation. And then we're going to start diving into the 4 myths that you had talked about as well.
Yeah. So, the 5 languages of appreciation are the same in name as the 5 love languages, but they look different in how they're applied. So words of affirmation, they're words that are affirming. We affirm the value of somebody that we're working with. And the best way for it to be really impactful is to be specific. We've actually done a poll with, 90,000 people. And one of the things that came up that they don't like to hear is good job. It's too vague, it's generic. So you want to be specific. It's like, Jennifer, thanks for staying late and cleaning up the conference room so that it's ready to go tomorrow morning for the meeting we have. So words that are affirming. It can be about work. It can be about them, a characteristic that they're cheerful and fun to be around. So it doesn't always have to be about a task. Second one is quality time. And quality time actually differs across generations. Those of us that are older, myself included, grew up with that sort of quality time meant time with your supervisor or your manager, either to be able to get some input, instruction, or maybe give some observations. And we felt valued when that happened. For younger workers, it's more about time with colleagues and peers. So you have to understand that there's different kinds of time. And each of these, our online assessment identifies not only the language that's preferred, but also the specific actions that the person wants. Third language is acts of service. It's not rescuing a low performing companion. It's more a small thing that you can do to help make their day or week go better. And general context is either they're working on a time limited project that they're just banging away trying to get done. What can you do to help out? Maybe answer the phone calls, take care of some emails so they can stay focused.
Conquer and divide something. Okay. Yeah.
And then fourth one is tangible gifts, which is not raises, bonuses, compensation. That's part of the employer-employee contract. It's small things that show that you're getting to know your colleagues at a personal level. We really believe appreciation is about the person, not just performance. And so could be their favorite cup of coffee or tea in the morning, maybe their favorite snack or a cold drink in the afternoon, or a magazine about their favorite sports team, like the Chiefs or the Jayhawks.
Well, careful on that Jayhawks.
But it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It could even be something on the internet. Maybe they're starting to coach their kids' soccer team, and you get them to a link that has some training videos and that kind of thing. So,
yeah.
And then the last one is physical touch, which everybody's always interested in. It's in the workplace. It's largely spontaneous celebration, right? It's a high five when you finish a project, a fist bump when you solve a problem, maybe a congratulatory handshake. It's the least commonly chosen language of appreciation in the workplace in our culture, but it differs regionally. And also culturally. Our Hispanic and Latin friends tend to be more physical than our Germanic and Scandinavian friends. So, so it's there. And the key is to find out the right language and actions within that language so that you don't waste time doing the wrong thing for different people and can really hit the mark.
I love, thank you for kind of doing a brief overview on that. And I'm sitting here thinking from my days in the sales world, trying to like differentiate myself. I always struggled when there was this idea that, your product is what differentiated you. And I'm like, there are so many other people with the exact same product that I have. Like it's me, and not in a selfish way, but or an arrogant way. It's like, I need to go and differentiate myself and how I show that I care for somebody, help them from a customer service side of things. I'm curious, we're talking about, that's easy. I say easy to implement within an organization. Hey, you work here, you need to take this assessment so that we know how to show appreciation to you. Do you have any suggestions on how somebody might, from a prospect or a client perspective, to learn how they can best show appreciation to them? Because, I'm raising my hand. When I was in the construction industry, I showed appreciation by sending a logoed onesie, a cup, or something along those lines. I don't think that's genuine appreciation. What you alluded to, that was,
right.
I got a stack of swag in the back that I got to get rid of.
Right. Yeah. We've worked with a number of sales managers and so forth. Sales is different because we really want it to be authentic and person to person. And we want to be perceived as authentic versus having a secondary gain. And so that's an issue in sales. Generally speaking, it's a weird question to ask in our culture, at least. How should I show you appreciation? People say, I don't know, tell me thanks. So you don't get much. But, and that's why I created the assessment, and a free copy of it comes with the book. But probably the easiest way is to ask them, when you're discouraged, what encourages you? Because encouragement and appreciation are similar. It's the focus of time for encouragement is present, and future appreciation is the past. So people can sometimes answer that, but even so, you're going to get sort of a limited response.
Interesting. So focusing on what's discouraging them, is that what you said?
Yeah, or when they're discouraged,
when they're discouraged, what? Interesting. I've not thought about it. So you did allude to the assessment. So real quick, I want to make sure that people can access that. I'm going to put it up here real quick. Why don't you tell them real quickly on what that assessment might look like?
Yeah, it's called the Motivating by Appreciation Inventory. It's an online assessment. It takes 15 to 20 minutes to take. A code for taking comes with the book, but you can buy codes for your team members without the book. If you email me here at yesdrpaul@gmail.com, I'll send you a sample report so you can see what it looks like. We've had almost 400,000 people take it worldwide. It's in 9 languages. And we got lots of research behind it. So it's a good deal.
I can attest to that. We deep dived on some of the different topics around what you just kind of talked about, and the 5 languages. So I probably need to dive a little bit deeper into that with you, just so I can best understand as our team continues to grow on how we can best implement that within our organization, as an organization that wants to show appreciation through tangible gifts. Let's go ahead and dive into some of the myths that you had talked about, and you alluded that there are 4 myths around appreciation. So let's spend a little more time on each of those and kind of dive in. Yeah, let's get started.
So when I, work with leaders of various types of organizations, businesses, nonprofits, schools, medical settings, government agencies, and a lot of, especially business leaders, have some misconceptions about appreciation. The first one is that appreciation is the same as employee recognition. We know that over 90% of all the companies have some kind of employee recognition, and can be as small as just sending, getting an email on your birthday. But employee recognition doesn't help individuals feel appreciated. And the reason is that's not what it was designed to do. It's designed to set goals, monitor, and reward people for doing that. And when designed well and implemented consistently, it can do that. And actually, recognition and appreciation can work together. But what we know is that the top 10 or 15% of a team tend to get most of the recognition. That leaves 50 to 60% not hearing anything. And we know that one of the main reasons people leave a job is because they don't feel valued or appreciated. I mean, huge research on that. And a lot of business leaders don't believe they're leaving for more money. They may get more money, but that's not why they're leaving. They're leaving because they don't feel valued or appreciated. So appreciation from our point of view is really about the person, because we are people first, and we're not just producers and production units. And we have lives and characteristics that aren't necessarily related to what we do. So that's one myth. The second one is that the goal of appreciation is to make people feel good. Yeah, we want that to happen, but that's not really the goal. The goal is to create a healthy, effective organization. It's sort of like oil in a machine. If you have a machine, an engine that's working, doesn't have any oil, you got friction, you got heat, you got tension, you got sparks. And then it takes more energy to get it to work, and it may get stuck eventually.
Yeah.
Appreciation's like oil between the parts of your organization that helps it work well, work together. We've got research cited in our book. Productivity goes up, profitability goes up, staff turnover goes down, customer ratings go up, less absenteeism, less tardiness, less theft, less on the job accidents. So good things happen when people feel valued. I can't go into all of it, but
yeah. Now, do you
huge.
feel like that's just because they take on more of a sense of ownership in what they are doing, or pride in what they are doing, or what?
Well, part of it is, if you don't feel valued, we know that creative problem solving goes down when people don't feel valued. Why? Because it takes energy. And if nobody cares, or you don't think anybody cares, why do it? Or you got a bad attitude when you're answering a customer service call because you think this is sort of sucks. I'm just sitting here. Nobody gives a rip.
Nobody cares. Yeah.
Nobody cares. And so that impacts your, interaction with your customers or potential customers. So it has to do with sort of changing the sense that I'm okay. People like me. Yeah, we got to motivate ourselves, but it's nice to hear at least every once in a while that somebody else values you.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the third misconception is that appreciation is the same thing as verbal praise or using words. It includes that, but most people think, oh, show appreciation, tell them thanks, or give them a compliment. That's fine, but in our research with almost 400,000 people, using words is preferred by less than half of all employees to be shown appreciation. So if you only use words, from the get-go, you're missing the target with at least half of your people.
Wow.
But quality time, acts of service, tangible gifts, and for some physical touch, fill up that other half.
Now, is verbal praise the highest of the 5?
Yeah, it's the most frequently chosen. But
so it's your best shot if you're just slinging it out there. But
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Helpful.
Yeah. So it's a good start, but most of us, and part of it's acculturation, and we've sort of learned in the workplace to say nice things about people.
Right.
And then the last one that's really important, especially for your audience here, is that it's a misconception that the primary responsibility of showing appreciation lies on managers and supervisors, if not the sole responsibility. And what we found fairly early on, because we started with managers and supervisors, is that people want to know that they're appreciated by their colleagues and their peers, especially the younger you go with the age group of employees. Peer and collegial relationships are more important to them than with the supervisor. And so it's critical for us that we've learned to teach and train whole teams, not just the leaders, but teams, how to show appreciation to one another. Partly because if you're having a bad day, who knows it first? I mean, it's somebody that's sitting next to you or who works with you, not necessarily your supervisor or manager.
Hopefully they're not eavesdropping on any phone calls or anything like that. But I know when I worked in a corporate setting, you heard more than you ever really needed to hear sometimes about your colleagues.
Yeah. Or you just see that they're discouraged. And so we found that it really works well as we teach teams. And we've done it across all kinds of DirecTV, Miller Coors. We're working with PepsiCo Global right now. We work with NASA, Mayo Clinics.
Wow.
And so, I mean, those are big names, but we work with schools and ministries and all different kinds.
So curious, like, these are massive organizations you're talking about, tens of thousands of employees. How do you get that? I mean, management has to make the decision. I feel like there's still a sense of, hey, we want this to happen. We need to lead by example and allow that to trickle down. How do you get that all the way down from top to the brand new employee that's walking through the door?
Very rarely, and only recently, have we started sort of top down kinds of stuff. Almost always it starts somewhere specific, some supervisor, some department head, some division director read the book hears about it, tries it. We do a pilot with their team and maybe somebody else.
Okay.
Tweak it a little bit. It works well. Other people say, "Hey, how come they're getting to do this and we're left out?" And you sort of create this positive peer pressure, and it goes around from there. And that's the way it goes. I mean, it's PepsiCo is probably one of the now MetLife are the only two that I can think of that we're just doing it top down. Because if you do that, a risk is that people say, "Oh, we've got to do it." So it undermines the perceived authenticity. So
Yeah.
I'd rather start, and it just tends to go viral from there. And so even from a smaller organization, just start with a team, a group, and run this. And we have an online train the trainer program that's really inexpensive, so that you don't have to hire somebody to do it. You can hire somebody and they can facilitate different groups across your organization.
Yeah. So making sure like this is not just applicable to the tens of thousands of organizations. You can have 2 or 3 individuals running around, and this is a great way to stay and arguably probably even more so on that side, because you guys are day to day and probably figure out ways to really get annoyed by each other at times through that. When is a time that, inside the organization, I see of this as a great way, like we're always talking, showing appreciation can help with retention and productivity and all this types of stuff. Like when does an organization really need to, and I hope I'm not answering this already, but like when do they need to really get started when they recognize that problem is there? Whether it is we're losing people left and right, is this the core? Like, how do you come in and like help those organizations? And I'm asking this for anybody that's listening in that is like, man, we just cannot. We've got 30% turnover. I don't know what else to do.
Yep. Because most managers and business leaders turn to pay, and we know that paying people more money doesn't make them stay. In fact, at the recent Great Resignation of 2022, MIT did a study and found that a lack of appreciation was 3 times a greater predictor of people leaving than compensation issues. So if you've got turnover issues, or if you have key team members you don't want to lose, you better get on the ball, because it's about culture and it's about connectedness. And that's really sort of what we specialize in, and can do it across all different kinds of industry. I mean, I was brought into a law firm in Asheville that they were losing people to non-law firms because they were paying more out there, and also because of the internal tension was like, I'd rather go check bags for the same or less money,
Yes, so, absolutely. It's not worth it.
Right.
Understood. Well, I just saw what time it is, so we are running out of time here. So real quick, obviously, like this could be many, many more minutes in conversation. So I really appreciate you coming on and giving us these little nuggets that people can potentially take. Highly encouraged to go pick up that book. You can find it on the website or Amazon to be able to get that and start the process. It's a really, really easy, rich read. I probably knocked it out in a week or 2 just because it's what interests me right now. So Dr. Paul, I just want to show appreciation by actually allowing us to send a meal to somebody that you think might be deserving, whether whatever life circumstance. But do you have anybody in mind that you'd like to send this to, and why?
Yeah, I do. Actually, my wife is an identical twin, and we have identical twins, but her twin sister for the past several years has been taking care of their mother up in Chicago. We live in Kansas, and her name's Karen Edgar, and I'd like to just send a little encouragement to her up in the west suburbs of Chicago. She's been a great servant. And let me just mention, Mitch, that if people want more information, we've got sort of a mothership website. It's called appreciationatwork.com. And there's stuff about the assessment, about the book, about our training. I go and speak either virtually or in person, and be glad to serve people that way.
Is that the best way for somebody to get a hold of you directly to ask more questions along that lines?
Yeah, because there's a way to get a hold of my team, and we'll get the question to the right person to get them the answer right away.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Paul, again, I'm incredibly grateful for the time you've spent, the information and education that you've given to those that have watched this live and those that will watch it later as well. So I can't thank you enough for that. Greatly appreciate that. And as always, guys, we are coming back to you guys every single Thursday at 3 p.m. Central Time. I'm excited to continue this on. We're already booked out till early December, and we have some really amazing business owners and HR executives and some others that can really dive into, what truly makes organizations more than a business. Dr. Paul, I think your research and this book that you guys have put out fall right into what can truly make an organization more than a business to help retain their talent, attract new talent, increase productivity and profitability, all of the different things. So Dr. Paul, thank you so much for joining us. And until next time, we will see you next Thursday.
Thank you.